going on, everybody? My name is Shane and welcome back to my channel. I'm so pumped today. We're getting into some drugstore makeup and this is perfect because back to school started not that long ago. You guys are kind of getting adjusted and stuff. So I have some new palettes that we're gonna try out. We're gonna try out one today, but I do have another one that we can try out if you guys do like this video. So I'm so pumped to see how these shadows work. Of course, I did my makeup in the palette, so I do kind of know my opinion about it already, but we'll talk more about that in just a minute. I was just online the other day on YouTube just browsing some videos and an ad came on. I get a lot of like makeup ads. So an ad came on that Maybelline came out with these new the City Mini Palettes. Now the collection we found out does have 6 palettes, so I have 2 out of the 6. So I'm really hoping that if we enjoy this palette today, we're gonna start with the Rooftop Bronze palette today, which I think is the most neutral out of all of them. I could be wrong. There was another kind of nude one we're gonna try out as well in the future, but I figured this one would be appropriate for a first time look at the palette. And then again, if down the road we enjoyed it and we want to see some more, I have this one as well. So with that said, if you want to see how I recreate this look and what we think about this palette, then please keep watching. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive right into this palette. I really have no expectations. Like I said, I haven't bought in drugstore makeup in general. Well, there are a couple of products that I use from the drugstore regularly. Maybelline's Instant Age Rewind Concealer. I also use my eyeliner comes from Hard Candy. So there are still a few staples that I always go toward in the drugstore, including my eyelashes. But really for palettes, I haven't bought lipsticks, I haven't bought palettes, I haven't bought a lot from the drugstore recently. So I'm really excited to get back into this because I think, like most people, this is kind of where you start with your makeup, so it's always nice to go back to your roots. So the first thing I'm noticing is that I believe this little cover is just like a slip because there is tape on the side, so I'm gonna assume this palette will be able to just slide right out. Now I must say, just the sheer size of this palette would seem really convenient, especially for people who travel a lot. Or honestly, this is quite affordable, so even if you want to get one just to keep in your makeup bag, I honestly wouldn't think that's a bad idea. But this is what the palette looks like once you do take it out of the cover as well. I think it's packaged just like a lot of the other Maybelline packaging, so it does pop off here. There is no mirror, which is kind of uncommon in drugstore palettes. I don't remember the last palette that I bought that came with a mirror as well, and even if they do, they're not really practical. So I'm not beating this on not having a mirror. Personally, I don't even really use the mirror in my palettes. I have my makeup mirrors, but it looks like all of the shadows, I'm looking at them in the light here, it looks like all of them have a little bit of shimmer. If you know me personally, I enjoy mattes better, but I'm also not opposed to shimmer. So I'm not like, oh, I'm not gonna ever use this palette because there are no mattes. If it was matte, I do think they do have a matte palette. I actually kind of want to look that up really quick. Also, while I'm looking this up, it looks like these are priced at $9.99 on Maybelline.com, which I got mine at Walmart and I only got mine for $7.99, so it doesn't make any sense. There are 6 palettes, so let me click through very quickly. I do have one other palette, which if we do end up liking this, let me know if you want to see this one too. So they have the Rooftop Bronzes, which I believe, yep, that's the one that I have here. They also have Chill Brunch Neutrals, which kind of looks like a fall palette. Urban Jungle, which looks really gorgeous. Downtown Sunrise. Concrete Runway, which is the one that I just showed you here. And then Graffiti Pop. So those are the 6 of them. None of them say matte or shimmery. I think just from the pictures, it looks like some may have mattes, but at the same time, these also, some of them looked matte in the packaging in the store. With the Concrete Jungle one, it looks like the most matte out of the two would this kind of be this gray and this black. Again, I don't want to go too much into this one, but when we get to that point, we'll have to see if this one has any mattes. But again, we're going to concentrate on this one today. I always thought this was pretty cool that drugstores do, but they do have like a little almost instructional manual in the back, just for people who are very, very, very unfamiliar with using eyeshadows and just kind of want to practice at home. They give you suggestions of where they would put these shadows. So I think for today's look, because this is more of just a review, I'm actually going to recreate the look that they suggest. Of course, with my own kind of additions that I usually do, but with the eyeshadow placement is what I mean that we're going to try today. So let us just get started. I went ahead and I did my entire face routine except for my eyes because I just wanted to skip all that and get right into the palette. So the first thing they tell you to do, okay, so color number 1 is the base. Little confusing to follow along on the back, even for someone who's very familiar with eyeshadows. But the base, they pretty much look like they did in the crease up to the brow bone. Like literally up to the brow bone. I'm also seeing that they have a base color, 2 crease colors, 2 lid colors, and then a liner color. There's no highlight. So you may end up using, I don't know. Like this is the base shadow that they suggest you use. Oh, quite pigmented with my very first swatch. We're gonna try it. So I am gonna go ahead, I guess we'll just find a fluffy brush to use. So I'm gonna use the Anastasia brush because it has a really nice fluffy end. And I'm just gonna pick up this base shadow and just picking it up off of the pan. I'm seeing a little bit of fallout, but not terrible at all. It looks like the brush is picking up a decent amount as well. So it swatched nicely, so let me see if it'll show up. Now I've been making the mistake of bringing you guys in a little too close. I'm even gonna back you up a little bit more. My camera does not focus very well and it's very frustrating when I'm editing a makeup tutorial and half of it is out of focus because my lens stinks. So I'm gonna try to just sweep this in there. Oh, okay, it's definitely showing up. I mean, I can see the shimmer. Honestly, I probably should have done this eye because I can't see well out of this eye, so. Personally, would this be a, it's not. Oh, this would not be a Okay, so it's not, super pigmented. It has quite a nice pigment to it, don't get me wrong. It's showing up. Maybe it's just because of where I put it that I'm having kind of a hard time seeing it, but it's just kind of making, it literally looks like my skin color just is now, it's now shiny and glittery, and that's not what I wanted, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it. Again, it's really hard to see with this shadow. I'll have to see when we get into some of the darker shadows how well it blends. But from just the very first shadow, I mean, it seems to blend pretty easily. But we'll see. All right, so it's, hopefully you guys can kind of see, but it's swept in my crease right up to my brow bone because honestly, this would have been our highlighting shade anyway, so let's just bring it right up there. Let me go to my palette to figure out what to do next. All right, so number 2 is the lid. Okay, this is literally written out for me, so that's good. All right, so the base, apply all over eye from lid to brow bone. Okay, we didn't do the lid part. It's really hard to see, so I'm just gonna take a little bit on my finger because I always seem to get a little more pigmentation. Even with high-end palettes, I always seem to find that using my finger works a little bit more. Or a little bit better, I should say. It just transfers on the skin nicely. Alright, so putting it on my lid, I'm definitely seeing it a little bit more clearly. It does seem a little bit buildable as I'm going back into the palette to grab more. I'm not trying to put too much, I'm just trying to make it so that it can be seen on camera. And I must say, so far, I mean, we just used the lightest shadow, but it's showing up rather well, and I'm not dealing with a lot of fallout, so good. Good so far. Step number 2 for the lid, apply a pop of color on the lid. For day, go more natural. For night, go more bold. So again, it gave us two lid options, which it's telling me that these two right here, one is like super shimmery, and then one's kind of like a fudgy bronze shadow. So I'm gonna swatch both of them on my finger. I don't know, y'all. I don't know, like in my opinion, this kind of shimmery gold shadow and then this like pinky coral shadow would be like the crease color or the lid colors, and then this kind of lighter warm brown and then this fudgy brown would be more crease colors, but it's suggesting that these two are lid and these two are crease. Am I reading this right? Yeah. I don't know. You know what it is, you guys? I have a very important event to go to today and I really need to make a good impression. So I really want to follow what they're telling me, but it's not making a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm just going to kind of go with what I would do. Because I don't want to lie to you guys and then be like, oh, this palette sucks because my makeup came out terrible. You know what I mean? Like I'm kind of just, I'm gonna do me. So I'm wearing just a purple cami just to do my makeup so I don't get my clothes dirty. But my attire is gonna be like a light tan shirt with like white pants. So I kind of want to do something that is a little more bronzed. So I think I'm gonna take, on the other side, the Anastasia brush. It's a flat shader brush. And I'm gonna pick up this gold shimmery shadow. And honestly, like looking at the back, I can see what they did. Like I can see this gold shimmery shadow used in the crease. Like I don't know. I want to use, what do I do? Okay. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna take up this pink shadow and I'm gonna put it on the inner half of my lid first. Wow, it's showing up really well. I must say the pigmentation's certainly there. That's not a complaint at all. I think it's just my personal preference to have mattes. I'm dealing with a lot of shimmers today and I haven't worked with shimmer shadows in a while, especially all shimmer shadows. That doesn't ever happen. I don't know, but we'll keep working it. We'll work it until I'm happy with it. I mean, there's no turning back now. And then for the outer half of my lid, I'm gonna pick up this gold shade here, and I'm gonna put it on the outer half of my lid. Maybe I prefer mattes because I like to mix and like blend my shadows in with one another a lot. Like I like to just throw a lot of color on my face. And I feel like with mattes, you can kind of see, not where they stop and end because that would defeat my point of blending, but I don't know, because I feel like it just doesn't show up as well on the mattes. And now as I turn my head, I'm starting to see glitter fall out here. That's not where glitter goes. Don't worry, I am a big fan of glitter, just not when it's not going where it's supposed to be going. And my nose contour today, girl, needs a little help in this pimple. Ugh, I'm a mess today. Truthfully, I did my makeup a couple of hours ago and then I was out and about, so my makeup isn't fresh. Let's just say that, because I need to put a little more concealer on that bad boy. Alright, we have our lid shades on, so let's move into the crease shades. So we have 3 shadows that we have not yet used from this palette. We have this really deep, it's actually almost kind of a plum shadow. Okay, it kind of looked a little purple in the palette, but that swatch though? Ooh, little chalky. I don't think I'm gonna like that one. But we still have to try, we're gonna try all of them, but we still need to try these 2. So I think these will be my 2 crease shadows. So I'm gonna take the brush from my Naked Heat palette and I'm gonna go into this lighter, softer shadow here. And I'm gonna sweep this back and forth in my crease, but I'm more so concentrating it on the inner half of my crease. Ooh, that's showing up really nice. Okay. Like I said, pigmentation is not a problem with this palette. I really don't think there's like any real problem that we've run into in this palette. And I'm really excited about that because, you know, a lot of girls go to the drugstore and get these kinds of palettes, especially, you know, younger girls who are still in high school, who may just be starting off with makeup. But you know what though? Like my mom is 50, what, 54 this year, maybe 54? And I've gone through her makeup collection and she carries a bunch of drugstore, and I think there's nothing wrong with it at all. This honestly kind of inspires me to go back into the drugstore. Like when I'm craving to get makeup, instead of spending an arm and a leg at Sephora, I'm kind of I like really want to get to the drugstore now and experiment with more makeup. This made me really excited for it all over again, so I'm really happy about that. So with this brush, I'm not worrying too much about blending. I'm more so just adding the product and blending it out a little bit, because later we're gonna go in and blend it out even more. So I'm just kind of getting the product on there, and I really like that. Without even really doing anything to this brush at all, I'm gonna go into this second shadow here and do the same thing. Sweep it back and forth in my crease, but this time on the outer half of my lid. And I am going to flick it out slightly, which is just gonna make the eyes appear a little more lifted and a little longer. I'm also gonna flick it down into my outer V, and I think with that really dark shadow, the last one we have to use, I'm just gonna deepen up this outer V a bit so I don't have to use it too much, because I wasn't quite impressed with that swatch. But the other eyeshadows that I've used so far honestly are really, really gorgeous. I didn't really know what to expect going into these shadows. I don't like watching reviews, or I don't like reading reviews before I can actually try a product myself, because I feel like in the back of my mind, like if I read something and then I try it, if it got negative reviews, I don't know what this thing got for reviews. It could be phenomenal. Honestly, I would give it a good review. But I feel like if I go and read a review and then try a product out for myself for the first time, even if I try to, you know, be true to my own opinion, I feel like there's like a little voice in the back of my head like, yeah, but somebody found it chalky, or somebody found it to have a lot of fallout, or not really pigmented. And it kind of just, that voice just keeps coming in, you know what I mean? So I like to not read anything. I like to read it after I film the video, just to kind of see if like people made any really good points I should look out for that I didn't. But this is, again, the very first time that I'm using this, and so far I personally am very impressed. So now that I have those shadows on, I'm going to go back into that original Anastasia brush we used for our base shadow, and I'm just going to soften up our crease a little bit, and I want to see if these colors will blend out, and then I'm going to go back in with just a little bit more and see if these colors are buildable. There are certain things that are very important in shadows for me. Of course, pigmentation, fallout, because I am one of those people who normally will do my face makeup and then my eye makeup. Once in a while, unless I'm like working with a palette that I know for sure is gonna have a lot of fallout or is gonna have a lot of really dark shadows, I won't do my face makeup. I'll do my eye makeup first. But just for like an everyday, like I should be able to reach for a neutral bronze palette and just put it on a full face of makeup and not have to worry too much about fallout. So far, this palette is really, really doing well with that. I saw a little bit of glitter on my nose, which was kind of a nuisance. You know that glitter can get everywhere. Even just speaking to you guys, I'm seeing a little bit of glitter here, but it's not the end of the world. I love glitter. I'm a girl. I'm a very girly girl. I love my glitter, so that's not a huge thing for me. I'm just pointing out stuff that may bother you. So now that I've said that, these are blended out nice, so I'm gonna go back in one more time with the softer shadow first here and pack it right on top, and I'm immediately seeing some color build up. This is really nice. It's building really, really good. Just deepening it up a little bit more. That was like my 5th time trying to say that without making it look too muddy. So I just applied a little bit, and I'm gonna take this fluffy brush and blend that out. Oh, ooh, wow. Honestly, Maybelline, I'm impressed. I really am. Maybelline was always one of those brands that I always gravitated toward anyways with makeup, so I'm very, very excited that I have not been disappointed with this palette. Alright, so we're gonna work on the bottom lash line in just a moment, work with a couple more of these shadows. Oh, wait. Whoa. Hold the phone. We need to use this thing, and I just swatched it. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it, but we're not gonna knock it till we try it. So what I like to do when I'm concentrating on the very outer corner and I really like to get in there, I usually gravitate toward like a little dome brush like this. This is from the Naked Smoky palette. It's just one of the ends, but I'm sure e.l.f. carries something similar. I have two e.l.f. brushes here that you could totally use this for. One's kind of a more dense dome brush, and then this one's a small concealer brush, but you could get away with using either for this. For the sake of what I normally do, I will be using this dome brush, and I'm just gonna pick up a little bit just on one side, like I'm just kind of going in and then tapping it off, and then I'm gonna almost bounce the eyeshadow onto my eye. I'm not like rubbing it in there, I'm just patting it right where I want it to go. Just making a little sideways V. This is just basically gonna add a little bit of depth to your look. It does make your look more dramatic as well. I normally don't do this. If I'm just doing like an everyday bronze look, I don't normally go into a super deep brown like this for the outer corner. I'll more so go into like a fudgy brown. Like this brown is probably one of the darkest I would go into for an everyday. Definitely nighttime is when I would make my look more dramatic, but I like that you can go day to night with this look as well. I kind of, in the back of my mind as I'm doing this, real quick, I'm gonna switch it over to this side and just flick this eyeshadow inwards toward my lid to blend it out. Again, keeping it pretty much in the same area that I just placed it, not really going very far with it. I am getting inspired to work with this palette some more, absolutely, and the palette is claiming that you can go from a very natural looking everyday look to a very dramatic nighttime look. So if you guys, I have two video suggestions for you guys. If you want to see this palette and additional palettes, because I most likely will be getting more, please let me know. You can either throw a like on the video or just comment down below. Also, if you would like to see a day and night look done with any of these palettes, probably starting with this one, but as I get more into my collection, I can do like a first review video of it and then like a day and night video to it. I'm not 100% sure. Basically, I just want to know if you guys want to see more of these palettes, because I know that I for sure do. Just checking for any more fallout. Really, it's just the glitter that I'm having a hard time with. I'm not actually seeing any eyeshadow color on the tops of my cheeks. It's just that stubborn glitter. But I feel like if you use any sort of shimmery shadow, it's gonna give you a little bit of glitter fallout, so we're gonna move past that. Now I will speed past this next part really quick before we move on to our lower lash line. This is a normal thing I do anyways. I take my NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the color Milk and line my eyes and my bottom lash line with it. I personally just have really dark eyes, so this just helps me lighten them up and make me not look as tired. You can totally skip this step or opt out for maybe a bronze liner. The one from NYX as well in Sparkle Leopard is a really nice bronze waterline shadow, just for a suggestion, but you definitely don't have to use the white if you want more of a natural look. Once that is on and blended, I kind of use it to act like a primer. I am gonna start working on our lower lash line. So I'm actually gonna use that e.l.f. brush that I mentioned that's used for concealer, but I'm gonna use it for a little bit of eyeshadow work. So I wanna add an inner corner highlight, and I think the most appropriate one would be this really soft pink shimmer shadow. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on the brush and then work this right into my tear duct. Because it was already used on the inner half of our eyelid, it just kind of connects it and continues it to our lower lash line. So that's why I chose this shade. And I do tend to bring my highlight down a little bit on my lower lash line as well. Just really concentrated on that inner third. I just want to be super careful again with all the shimmer. I just don't want a super glittery face when I'm done. Then I'm going to take that second e.l.f. brush that I just mentioned, and we are going to go... what do I go into? I think I'm just going to take this soft brown here and just pretty much work it all along my lower lash line. I'm dragging it down ever so slightly just to kind of give me that like bronzed, whoops, wrong one, that bronzed kind of smoky look. I'm gonna connect it to our top shadow here in the corner. Now the next step is just a totally personal reference, but I like to make my eyes look a little more narrow because they're super rounded. So I'm going to take my angled brush and just using that same brown shadow I was just blending out, I'm just going to make a slight point right underneath my tear duct. And I don't want that line to be harsh by any means, so I'm just going to use that same brush and just go in and soften it a bit. Alright you guys, so that was it for the eyeshadows. I'm going to go ahead, throw my liner, my mascara, and my lashes on. For lashes, I am just using a double stacked pair of my Salon Perfect 615, so I'll see you guys in a sec. Slightly messed up on this eye, but hopefully no one will notice. It's just, I think it's a little bit wavier than this one is, but we're gonna roll with it. If you did not see one of my last tutorials, I did mention to you guys a new little makeup trick that I learned. So I'm going to take a little bit of my translucent powder here and using my beauty blender, I'm going to dab it right underneath my eyeshadow. So when I'm doing my bottom mascara, it's actually going to prevent my mascara from transferring onto my cheeks. Don't know why it works, but I have been doing this trick ever since I heard about it. I kind of wanted to test it myself and it totally works. So if you have that issue, or if you have just really long bottom lashes, or if like you're doing a really important makeup look, try it out. Maybe try it out before that important makeup look. Where are my tweezers? Well, real quick, while my lashes get tacky, let's go ahead and figure out what I want to do for my lips. I want to keep them quite simple because, again, I just kind of wanted to concentrate on the eyeshadows today, so I don't want to go too much into depth with everything else. I'm just kind of rummaging through what I usually have on hand, and most likely I'm going to be going with Aquarius because it's my favorite, so don't judge me. It's awesome, honestly. I think I overdrew my lips a little too much with this. That's okay. All right, we're gonna pop on these bad boys. And honestly, I usually don't deal with this problem anymore just because I've been wearing lashes for so long. But the past couple of times, the corners have popped up on me, and I'm like, What's going on? The funny thing is, I actually ended up going back to my Duo lash glue. I was using, well, hold a thought. Let me get these on here and then I'll show you the one that I was using for a while. And I only started having that problem again when I started using Duo. And I've always raved about how Duo lash glue is awesome, but now I'm kind of thinking that I may have found a better one. Very rarely has Duo let me down. Honestly, it may have been just user error because I do remember it happened twice and I think it happened like one day after the other. But I remember that I think I just waited a little bit too long for them to get tacky, so maybe they just weren't quite tacky enough to hang on to my lashes all day or my skin all day. So that may have just been my issue because I had been using Duo for so long. It was just maybe ironic that it started happening as soon as I switched back. I don't know. But let me get these tacky and then I'll show you guys. I've shown it before, but I ended up buying the lash strip by Andrea, and usually I don't ever buy Andrea lashes or Andrea glue. I've always just been a Duo fan, but I didn't have any issues with this, and then when I ran out I just ended up going back to Duo because it's kind of just what I knew, and this is doing something funky. I don't know, again I'm gonna kind of keep my eyes open and watch out for Duo, see if I actually notice that my lashes keep lifting. Today I applied quite a good amount of glue and I didn't allow it to get too tacky. When I put it on, they were still slipping a little bit, so they're definitely gonna adhere to my lashes. So if I notice anything funky with the Duo, I'll let you know that I'm noticing, you know, lifting all the time, and we may just end up using strip lash again. But they're both great glues. I'll just, again, let you know what's going on with this bad boy. So today should be a pretty good test for that. So I'm gonna take one final step. Again, the rest of my face is done, but once my lash is dry, I'm gonna go back into my hard candy liner that I used to create my eyeliner wings, and I'm gonna go over the lash band with it just so they kind of hide and you can't really see them, and I'll see you guys in a minute with my final thoughts. Turbo quick update, guys, before the end of it with this Duo lash glue. I'm already getting lifting right here. I don't know, I could have sworn I put glue up to the very ends of it, but already I'm having a hard time with it staying down, so I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep using this glue and let you guys know if there's any other changes because, again, that may have just been user error, but I don't know. So this is the final look. This is how my makeup turned out. Honestly, I'm very happy with this. Again, it did inspire me to go out and explore the drugstore a little bit more. I haven't shopped there in years except to pick up my staples, so I kind of zone in and I get what I want and then I leave because I know I can get a little bit in trouble with makeup. But using these palettes, I was a little bit skeptical. I'm gonna be like, they're gonna say it's all blendable and pigmented, yada yada yada. I had to try it out for myself, and honestly, I'm really happy with it. Especially for somebody, I think this was almost a little challenge for myself. I'm really glad that we started with the bronze shadows because I have been using matte shadows for so long. And I did mention that I find that mattes are a little bit easier to blend and you can kind of see the different colors. And I kind of still think the same, although this palette was very easy to blend. But it's just a little bit annoying to deal with the glitter fallout. There wasn't a lot, don't get me wrong, but there was enough to be noticeable. But again, I'm just glad that we worked with all shimmers today. Not only was it a new palette, not only was it drugstore, but there was no mattes, which was kind of crazy for me. Overall, I think this palette is well worth the price. Again, on Maybelline, there was a little bit of a price difference than when I bought it in store. Also, I live in one of the very few states in the US that don't have sale tax, so maybe that was why as well. I got mine for $8, which I think is very reasonably priced, especially for the quality of eyeshadows that you're getting. So overall, I'm super stoked about this. Remember that I do have that Concrete Runway palette, which has a lot of darker shadows. Like, this is super midnight blue, like going out clubbing look. I mean, even look at the picture on the back. It's super dark. super different than the one that we tested out today, so I'm kind of curious if these shadows will stand up to the bar that this one sets. With that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like how this look came out. If you guys decide to go out and get a palette of your own, I would really recommend it, but let me know what you think of it. I hope you love it because honestly, I really like this. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and leave a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss any new videos, I'm just saying, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button you're gonna see on the screen, and I hope to see you guys in my next one.